All right, hello, welcome to the Rams Agents Talk Real Estate. This is a training series for real estate agents, brokers, and realtors. Today, our speaker is Angela Newman. Angela is a real estate broker associate licensed in Oklahoma and Texas. Angela has been a solo agent, a marketing and listing manager, and a team leader. She's spent the last 18 of her 21-year career focused on agent growth and development and real estate marketing. Angela managed real estate branding and marketing campaigns with budgets from zero all the way up to $40,000 a month. She helped build a database from 400 people to 4,000 people. Angela has marketed 1,000 properties for sale and has helped hundreds of agents. Angela is also a master trainer with Rams agents at Epic Realty and an expert at building referral based real estate practices. She lives outside Houston, Texas with her husband and son. Her passion is to help others achieve their dreams, and her mission is to share what she has learned. Her expertise is event marketing. So now let's get into the show. Everyone, please mute yourself until the end. If you have any questions, please place them in chat and we'll address them in a formal Q&A at the end of the talk. So now a great big round and a great big welcome for Angela Newman.
Hello, everybody. I am so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you showed up. Thank you. It really means a lot to me. And yeah, so I am excited to share my story. Some of you know my story just because we have worked together closely, but probably a lot of you don't. I haven't actually shared this twist of story really up until recently, about a month ago. But first I want to talk to you about how I got into real estate. I became a licensed agent in 2003. After I got out of college, I moved to Seattle, Washington. I worked there for a screen printing company, and I was there working about 30 hours because the economy started tanking there and they cut my hours. And I was trying to figure out what can I do to supplement my income. And real estate was booming. So if you remember back then, real estate was crazy. And so I got my license. Being in Seattle and being from Tulsa, Oklahoma, I was 2,000 miles away from my family, my home. I had no family there. I only had a handful of friends. I knew a few people through working there, but I decided to get my license and get into real estate. So fast forward to a couple more years, I moved back to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and took a little time off. I tried to get, situated back into a new town, got my Oklahoma real estate license there, and then started working for a real estate brokerage as their listing and marketing manager. So I worked there for 17 years, full time, sometimes more than full time, if you know what that means. So yeah, I've been a part-time agent since 2003 up until about the end of February last year in 2024. So during that time, why did I want to get into real estate? Well, I had goals. I wanted to make my life better. I wanted to buy my first house and save for that down payment. And so even though I'm an introvert, I thought this was a great way to have this opportunity. So real estate's been good to me. Even though I was working part-time, I still consistently sold 2 to 3 homes a year. Consistently brought home 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 in GCI. And that was life-changing for me. It allowed us to go on family vacations. It allowed me to put my son into a really great daycare. And it also allowed us to put him into private school. So I love real estate. Real estate is my life. But now I'm going to go into the story on how I got one referral that completely changed my life and has really been the foundation of my real estate career, my personal real estate career. Um, so I'm going to share with that story. So that one referral has turned into 24 closings because he has referred people to me over the years. So have you ever met somebody that changed your life? Well, you're not going to know when that will happen. You're not going to know where it's going to happen or how it will happen. So you just got to be ready for it. I can remember back that I met a person through my husband. We met at a charity event. Later on, I invited him to a barbecue at my house. And he wasn't thinking about buying or selling anytime soon. But you know how things go, and you just talk about real estate. You talk about what you're doing, what you'd ask them how they're doing, how their work's going, and all of that. Well, a little later, I received a phone call from a person that said, "Hey, so and so told me to call you, and he said that you would be a great person to help me. I want to buy a house." And I was like, "Okay, awesome, awesome." And so we met, and he was buying his first house, and he was new to the area. And we were looking at about the $100,000 price range, you know. So we looked at some houses, and you know, in $100,000 price range, even back then, they needed a lot of work, and you know, but we were looking at houses. Um, so over the years, because of this relationship, I have helped him buy and sell multiple properties, as well as he has referred people to me, and I've helped them buy and sell multiple properties. And that's how we got to the 24 closings. So how do you build a relationship like that? So this is where you might want to grab your pen and paper and take a little few notes. Uh, the first thing that, as I look back, and this relationship, you know, I look back. So over the years, what were three things that were really key to having this relationship built? Well, the first thing was setting expectations. So I think that that's really, really important when you meet with a client, whether you meet with them the first time because you're going to show a house or you're doing a buyer consultation. Set those expectations. And that was really important in my situation as well, because I was a part-time realtor. So I told him something like this. I am so glad that so-and-so referred you to me. I am really excited to help you, but there's something I do want to make sure you know. I work full-time for a brokerage, real estate brokerage. And that position is Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And so I will not be available to help you during those times. But you can still call me, you can still text me, and then as soon as I get a chance, I will reach back out to you and communicate. And then we can look at houses in the evenings, we can look at houses on the weekends, and I promise that I will take good care of you. So the funny thing though was that he ended up saying, "Well, I also work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So this is not going to be a big deal." So setting those expectations and not hiding from the fact that you're not going to be available on certain days is really, really critical. And you can set those expectations throughout your relationship in the process. So I would say that the key takeaway for that is by setting clear expectations up front, you build trust. And trust is so important if somebody's going to work with you repetitively. So the second thing that has really helped build this strong relationship was excellent service. So I made it my mission that I was going to give excellent service. Now, excellent service doesn't mean being perfect. Excellent service means going above and beyond when you can, showing people that you care, and doing what you say you're going to do. And because of that, I do believe that was really a huge, huge part of why we continue to work together all these years. So the takeaway there is when clients feel truly taken care of, they don't just trust you with their business, they also trust you with the people they care about. And that's how I got all those additional referrals. Now, the third thing was consistent communication. Now, this is where most of us struggle. Like, who really likes to follow up? Who really likes to prospect? I know that I have a hard time with it, but we've heard that the fortune is in the follow-up. So we know that we should be doing it. Well, how can we communicate? Well, we can communicate through a phone call, through a text, through a direct message, through email, through mail, in person. There's all different ways that we can communicate. So I will admit that I was not perfect all those years with our communication, but a few things really helped me stay in communication. And so sending properties whenever I saw a property that would be a good fit for him, for one of his friends, somebody that was referred to me. Another thing was when I saw something of value, when I saw the rate change dramatically, when I saw something interesting that he should know about, a new loan product. Another thing, though, was events. So I have managed, promoted events, gosh, probably the last 12 years, I really, really got into events. And so over those years, I invited him consistently to those events that I promoted for the brokerage that I worked at. And did he attend every event? No, he really didn't attend that many events, actually. But I do remember he attended the Pi Day events. And one particular Pi Day event, he brought a couple of friends. I got to show him around to the other people that I worked with, and we had a really great time. It was around the holiday time. Everybody was happy. I remember another event. It was a sporting event. And he brought his family, he brought his extended family, and he brought his friends. And it was just, I don't know, it felt really good, that he came. But even though he didn't go to most of the events, something that we talk about with Rams agents is the power is in the invitation. So it gave me that opportunity to talk to him, to follow up, to consistently communicate. An event is a great way to communicate through all of those forms that we just talked about: text, call, email, mail, and then in person. So here are some event ideas that I personally helped host, and you can jot some of these down. First-time buyer class, buying and selling class, fall appreciation party, summer kickoff party, Pi Day, shredding party, movie theater night, drive-in night at the park, drive-in theater night, baseball game night, hockey game night, giveaways, car wash event, coat drive, food drive, snow cone truck, coffee meetups, happy hours, hosting dinner. And there's more, but that's just to give you an idea. And I do want to stress, though, that an event does not have to be big. So event can be as small as 2 people. So an event is basically an occasion where 2 or more people get together and do something, celebrate something. So events are really, really one of the funnest and easiest ways to communicate with someone. And I do believe that even though sometimes I drop the ball with my communication, because I had those tools and ways that I could communicate with back to him, we stayed in touch. So I have some takeaways that I put together. Again, if you have a pen and paper, you might want to jot it down. So consistent communication matters. Whether you're calling, texting, emails, or doing an event, have a plan to stay in touch. This will change your business. If you ever drop the ball, don't quit. Just pick it back up again. Honestly, reach back out. And events are a fun way to stay in touch with the people in your world. That's why I'm so passionate about event marketing. Now, 3 more takeaways, kind of the big picture stuff, is that real estate is built on relationships, and your business is the sum of your relationships and how strong they are. The second thing is the fortune is in the follow-up. So consistency does pay off. And the third thing is events make follow-up easy and fun. So I want to end with a question, a what if. So what if tomorrow, next week, next month, this year, you meet somebody and they become a raving fan? And what if they refer somebody to you and another person and another person? What if you met 2 people like that? What if you met 3 people like that? What if you met 4 people like that? How would that change your life? How many people have you already met that could have become a raving fan? They're rare. They're rare. And that's why we want to take care of them and appreciate them. But to conclude, to create a long-term real estate business, building relationships is absolutely crucial. And events are a super fun way to do that. Would he have continued to work with me even if I didn't host events? Possibly, probably. But it made it so much easier and fun for me to stay in touch with him and communicate with him and give him something of value. Thank you so much. And I'm going to turn this back over to Mike. And if anyone has any questions, then we can go into that.
Angela, that was fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your story of how you turned one referral into 24 closings. I know we all would love to have that happen. Let's open it up for some Q&A. If you have a question, you can either type it into the chat or you can raise your hand and we'll call on you and you can unmute yourself and ask directly. Either way, we'll give an opportunity for you to ask. I'm going to go ahead and launch this off with a question. You said that you met the investor, and when you met the investor, you shared that at the time you were working Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and you were not going to be available. There were these hours that you were not available, and a lot of agents have difficulty presenting that to a client. For instance, I don't work on the weekends, and so some people have a hard time sharing that information. How did you get the courage to do that? I mean, didn't you think it was going to blow up in your face and the guy was going to say, well, forget you, I'm going somewhere else? How'd you handle that? How'd you get that courage?
Well, I like to be upfront and transparent. So that's just me. But in my mind, I just wanted what was best for him. And if that wasn't going to work, then I could refer him to somebody on my team. But I knew that, I don't know, I just had this feeling like this is something that I need to share with people because I didn't want there to be any challenges moving forward, with, well, why aren't they answering their phone? Because I pride myself on answering the phone. I pride myself in responding and communication. So it was scary, I was risking it. I was like, okay, well, if that doesn't work for him, though, I'm going to help him find somebody that, will be able to take care of him.
Yeah, I like that you had a backup plan, right? If he insists on going out Monday through Friday in those days, you had somebody else that you could hand him off to take care of him for that time period. you had another plan to fill the gaps of when you wouldn't be available. And you were solo. You were a solo agent. You didn't have a giant team helping you out at the time. You were doing this on your own as the agent. So anyway, that's a great little lesson. I'll ask one other question and then we'll see if everyone else has a question. Uh, let's see, if an agent was listening to us and they wanted to start doing event marketing, because event marketing is so powerful, but they don't know where to start. Where should they start?
Mm-hmm. Well, I would start with, and no, you did not share this question with me ahead of time, so I'm just pulling this out of my pocket. But I would start with, you want to do events that fit your personality. And events can be scary. I'm an introvert, but for some reason, I really love parties and events and things like that. So I would make a list of things that are exciting to you, that are interesting to you, that are possibilities. And really, I would start with one event and just do it. Because the more you do them, the more it's going to be easier, just like with anything. But start with one and then plan your next event and your next event. And it will get easier. You're going to find out what works, what doesn't work. And those events that work, I did 10 pie days. I did 10 shredding parties. Every year we did some kind of a movie thing, whether it was at the drive-in or a movie theater or something. So when they work and you do them every year, not only does it get easier because you've done it once and you want to keep track of the process and everything that you did so you can make it better the next year, but people start expecting it and they start looking forward to it. Not every event is going to be the right fit for every person, and that's okay. Again, it's the invitation and that you get to invite them and communicate with them. But you'll have certain people that, okay, they love Pi Day. You'll have certain people that they just want to shred their stuff before taxes come and stuff like that. So, but I would start if somebody was just starting with it, you can even start with something small and just host a little coffee event. Invite your top 10 people that you want to work with or that have referred people to you or whoever, your fans, and invite them. Say, I'm going to be here at a coffee shop Saturday from 10 to 12. Stop by and I'll buy you a coffee. So you can start very small, but just start.
Excellent. That makes a lot of sense and appreciate that. Also, what I picked up in there was you'll have annual events that are repeated each time. It was probably really hard the first time, a lot easier the second time. By the 10th time, it was a breeze. You had all your systems down. Did you set up do you have and do you set up a schedule, an annual schedule of all the events you're going to do for the year? Is that something you recommend people do? If so, how should they go about that? Like how many events should they have in a year?
Sure. Well, this is where I really nerd out with schedules and planning and all that kind of stuff and systems, but definitely. So when you do your business plan, which you'll want to start thinking about that here pretty soon, um, you want to leave room for your marketing. And a part of that marketing plan, you want to include your events. So what you want to do. And I do recommend that you schedule it out a year ahead of time, because you can always change that schedule, but having that schedule, you're more likely to actually do it. It's more likely to happen if you have that all planned out. And so definitely I recommend that and I do that.
Cool. Uh, that makes a lot of sense to me. By the way, let me do this. I want to make sure I don't miss. We've got a question over here in the comments. It's by Patty, and I believe she was asking about your story as you were going through your story and you're talking about how your referral came about. And she said, "Hey, did you get referrals from his referrals? Like, how far down did that tree go?" You said you got the one person that was referred to you and had like, if I remember the story correct, maybe 10 or so closings, and then he referred other people. They had closings. Did they refer other people, or how far down did that tree go?
Hmm. So, a couple of them have referred people to me. Not all of them. And a raving fan, uh, there's a book, somebody wrote a book about this, but a raving fan, they're unique. They're like a unicorn. So a true raving fan is somebody that is loyal to you, wants to spread the word. We've talked about this before in our Rams agents that there's certain people that are connectors. And that's just who they are. They want, when you say, hey, I need an insurance company, they're going to say, oh, I know a great insurance company. When you say, hey, I'm thinking about taking my family out to dinner or going on this trip, they're like, oh, they just, it's in them. And so this person is that type of person. But yes, I did get a couple of other referrals from that. But he himself has referred many people to me.
Fantastic. That's really cool. Now, does anybody else have any other questions for Angela? I think it's, oh, I got a raised hand. Thank you, Carla. Carla, if you could unmute yourself and ask a question.
Hey, Miss Angela. Angela and I go a little while back. We know each other, so she's amazing. I can attest to that. How do you feel about pop buys? I work on pop buys. I partner with a title company, and as far as cost goes, we know all know about staying within our budget and whatnot. So, how do you feel about partnering with title companies and or other vendors to help with offset the cost? The pop buys might be simple, but they go a long way. I've actually gotten a lot of referral business from those as well.
Yes, I love pop buys. Um, Pop buys, I would recommend that they be to your top people. So if in your group you have 500 people, you're not going to pop by probably to all 500. I would reserve that to maybe your top 50. If you only have 50 people in your group, then maybe you pop by to the top 10. It's really based on your budget. And if you can find a sponsor to partner with you on that, um, then I love with events, I love sponsors because if you can find a way to help their business and you can partner with them, then it's a win-win. And it also helps with the cost of the event. So I think that's a great idea with the pop buys. When you want to do something that is on a bigger scale, let's say to include leads, to include the community, include people that maybe you're just wanting to stay in touch with, then a pop by is probably not the right fit, but I love pop buys.
Cool. Great question. Great answer. Anybody else have any questions for Angela? You have a captive audience with her here. If you've got
What's a
any
pop by?
questions.
I was curious, Carla and Angela, what's a pop by?
Great question. Miss Angela, do you want to take it? Do you want me to take it?
You go for it. Yeah.
Okay, so I had the same question when I first started. I'm like, what in the world? So basically, I partner with a lender and a title company, and they purchase items and there's theme for like St. Patty's, Valentine's, Mother's Day, Father's Day, just a little Super Bowl, something themed to that area, and just a little baggie with your business card, just as a reminder. There are touches. There's 36 touches. I'm sure a lot of us have been through several brokers. We talk about that. For those who have not, it's a great way to stay top of mind. That's why Angela is so amazing what she does, because she's always doing great things to be top of mind so that people will reach out to her. So I do what she stated. I keep it to the top five, especially my investors, because I know they'll continue referring me business. And it might be something as simple as a $10 little bag with a tea, for Mother's Day. It was like the bath bombs, lip balm, things of that nature. Just something to say, hi, I'm thinking of you. And if you know of someone else, please refer them to me.
Yep.
What do you think, Ms. Angela? Is that a good?
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. Yes. And Blake, we recently were talking about he's planning to do a pop by with pumpkins um, for the fall season. And yeah, so uh, that's definitely a great way to go out and get in front of people. And the great thing with something like that too, if they happen to not be home, they still have a pumpkin on their porch when they get home, and it's a really nice, pleasant surprise. So there's so many ideas and things you can do.
Yeah, I heard Blake was going to bring 300-pound pumpkins, those really big pumpkins. All right, cool. Angela, that's awesome. And thank you, Carla and Tristan. Great assistance and help. Good comments. Anybody else have any questions for Angela while we have her here?
I just had one, if that's okay. First of all, Angela, thank you for responding to my question, because I really thought it was great that you reinforced how important it was. That initial referral was the unicorn, and that's the person that gets your attention. And you foster that relationship so well. I mean, that's just incredible. I wanted to just touch on, I still do mailing. I mean, do you find mailing things out any value, or is that something that, you still think is of value? I think a couple times a year, I still invest in that. I don't know. Sometimes I get a good reaction, but I just wanted your thought on that.
Yes, I love mailing. So I did some research, and most people get like 5 to 7 pieces of personal mail a year. So mail is super powerful and impactful. People don't really send birthday cards anymore, like through the mail. A couple of things. Well, one thing that we did earlier this year that I had a huge positive response from was for St. Patrick's Day, we did a scratch off, our Rams agents group, a scratch off, and we put it in a St. Patrick's Day card and just said, hey, thinking about you, hope you have the luck of the Irish, and put a scratch off card in there. And so many people, that's how you get people to reach back out to you. So many people reached back out to me and they said, I got this and I didn't win, but thank you for thinking of me. You made my day. One person did win a little bit, so that was fun to hear about that. But mail is, I think it's still great. And when you're marketing, you want to seem like you are everywhere on social media, you know, mail, email, just as much as possible. Stay in those people's lives. Like Carla said, you want to be top of mind. So when they are ready to buy and sell or refer somebody, they'll think of you.
So true. I was just, while you were mentioning that, the St. Patty's Day mail out that we all did as part of our group, where we sent out a personal card, and inside the card, we just put a scratch off lottery ticket. And as Angela said, we said, hey, wishing you the luck of the Irish. It was amazing to me how many people would take a picture of it and text it to me, the card and the scratch off. And as Angela mentioned, there were some winners, and they would scratch it off and they would take a picture of the winning ticket and send it back and say how grateful they were. And it was just a great way to connect. It's very inexpensive. So as Angela's been saying, these events, they cover all different price ranges and complexity all the way to simplicity. And she's a master of putting these together and outlining them and making sure all the details occur and creating a system so it can be repeated over and over again. That's why I say, if you've got any questions about putting on an event, you got yourself a master right here that you could ask. And again, I appreciate all the questions so far. Anybody else have a question that you're dying to get out there? Don't be shy. Go ahead and type it into the chat or unmute yourself and ask. We'll give you a second there to do that. Angela, let me ask why they're doing that. We're giving one last round. what was your favorite event that you put together? What's been the favorite event that you've done?
Oh, I would have to say that, man, that is so hard. That's so hard. But maybe my top two was Pi Day. I just love Pi Day. I love, we would have a lot of older people that would come that didn't have family or, they look forward to it. And so getting to spend, I would just like reserve that whole day to where I'm just going to hang out with people. Again, I'm an introvert, but I like people. I'm a big old S on the scale. So I love Pi Day. And then probably my second, the fun one was the drive-in movie theater. So we could hold up to 2,000 cars and we rented both sides. So we would have a kid movie on one side and then a more of an adult, like a PG or PG-13 movie on the other side. And people loved it. It was so fun. One year though, we made the mistake of doing it in, gosh, I think it was like, we could do it like the beginning of the season or at the end of the season because they show movies like during prime time. So we made the mistake of doing it at the beginning of the season and it snowed the night before. But we still had it. People still came. They were still lined up. Admiral, if you're from Tulsa, you know where that movie theater is, and lined up the street. And even though it was cold, it was still a lot of fun.
Sounds like a fun event. Now that's a big event, so it shows the spectrum of events that you do, all the way from, as you mentioned, a two people invitation, just having lunch with someone, all the way up to these big, massive 2,000 car events. I saw Blake might have had a question. Blake, did you have a question?
I was just thinking about back to your point of having consistent communication, and one of the things that you noted in addition to properties and events was sending something of value, like a interest rate change or something like that. What sort of things did you find of value to send?
Well, I receive a lot of articles through as real estate agents, keeping current matters. There's different sources, Inman, stuff like that, that'll keep you on top of the real estate world and what's going on. But then also sometimes I would just kind of strategically try to think of, okay, what is going on right now. It could be a new development. It could be something that's happening close to where they live, where they want to invest in. So if you can find something that's more universal, when I look back, one of the biggies that we had in the Tulsa area was the Gathering Place. So this was a huge project. It's like one of the top parks in the United States where it took several years to build. It had a big effect on real estate because some of those houses that once were at a certain value, they immediately started increasing in value. And people just wanted to be near there because it's a really cool park. It's just, yeah, you would just, if you saw it in person, it's so unique. But that was something that I would share, like an update on that project. So projects like that, just, and again, it's the power of just sharing it. So they may or may not. I mean, it's better if they are interested in that topic that you're talking about. They may or not really, be glued to their seat about it, but it's just having that reason, something to share with them, some kind of item of value. A couple of other cool ones that we've talked about in the Rams agents. How to protest your taxes. That's a big one. A lot of people do that. We've also talked about, offering a home valuation for free. Just wanted to offer, let me run some comps and let's see where your home's value is. Just stuff like that.
Very
Thank
cool.
you.
So it sounds like the gambit of everything from something that's happening in the local market, keeping them updated on the local market. That shows your expertise, right? This gathering place, I've never heard of it. I'm in Denver. I've never heard of that. But you all locally in your market, you know about it, and you're very interested in how it's going to affect you. So that would be very powerful. All the way down to the minutia, the minute, which is them and their property, right? You mentioned the home valuation. That makes a lot of sense as well. So very cool. Great presentation. Great questions. I don't see any other questions in chat. If I missed your question, I apologize. But we're going to wrap this up. Angela, this was a fantastic presentation. Thank you so much for sharing today.
You're very welcome. Thank you guys for being here. It really helps to actually have people here to talk to. So I love it. Thank you.
That's cool. That's awesome. Hey, thank you everyone again for joining us. If you'd like to watch the replay, we'll be posting that up on YouTube at Rams Agents Talk Real Estate. That's our new channel we're opening up to show these presentations after the fact. And by the way, this presentation was sponsored by Rams Agents at Epic Realty. If you wish to learn more about us, please go back to the person who invited you to this meeting. And be sure, by the way, to watch out for our next Rams Agents Talk Real Estate presentation. Again, thank you everybody so much for being here, and bye for now.
Bye.